Episode 272. Summer is coming, and I know that you're already tired. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Not Your Average Autism Mom podcast. I am your host, Shannon Urquiola, and as always, I am so glad that you're here with me today. I am mom to two incredible young adults. My son Jordan is 29 now, and I am his guardian and full time caregiver. I am living this life day in and day out, just like you. I have been where you are. I created this podcast not just to share tips and insights, but to give you a space where you don't feel so alone in this parenting journey that none of us planned for. So, this isn't just a podcast. This is your weekly reminder that you are doing so much better than you think you are. And that no matter what today looks like, you've got someone in your corner who gets it. I also want you to know I try really hard to keep these episodes to 20 minutes or less because I know that you don't have a lot of extra time. You've got enough on your plate. Trust me, I get that. Some of you haven't even made it to the last day of school yet, and you're already mentally exhausted thinking about summer. You're already trying to figure out who's covering what camps are actually realistic, whether ESY is enough, how much screen time is too much screen time, if your child is going to regress, how you're going to keep everybody regulated when routines disappear, and whether you can survive hearing, "What are we doing today?" 47 times before 9 a.m. And listen, if your nervous system already started spiraling a little thinking about summer, you are definitely not alone because summer for autism families is very different than the pictures that a lot of people post online. For many of us raising autistic kids, summer doesn't feel lighter. It feels heavier because at least during the school year, even if things are hard, there is usually some structure holding pieces of your life together. School, therapies, transportation, schedules, routines, predictability. And then summer comes along and suddenly you become the camp. You're the counselor and the therapist and the snack manager and the emotional support human and the activity coordinator and the lunch person. And all of that comes at once. And that's a lot, especially when you're already exhausted. And now you add in, you might have siblings home all day, changes in therapists, vacation expectations, sleep schedule shifting, family gathering, kids dysregulated from heat and sensory overwhelm, and the pressure to somehow make memories all summer long. It can feel overwhelming before summer even starts. I remember when Jordan was younger, summer used to make me so nervous. And not because I didn't want him home, but because I worried that we would lose ground on the progress that he had made. I worried that the routines that we'd worked so hard to build would disappear. I worried that September would come and we'd somehow be starting all over again. Looking back now, I can tell you that some summers were easier than others. Some skills stayed strong and some needed a lot of relearning. But what I learned was that growth wasn't nearly as fragile as I thought it was. And one of the biggest worries I hear from moms this time of year is regression. And regression is a real fear. You worry, will speech decrease? Will behaviors increase? Will routines completely fall apart? Will emotional regulation get harder? Will toileting regress? Will all the progress that you worked so hard for disappear? And I want to pause here and say something really important. Rest is not failure. Slowing down is not failure. A different season does not erase years of growth. I think sometimes you put unbelievable pressure on yourselves during summer because you feel like you have to keep every skill perfectly maintained every second, or somehow you're failing. And that pressure alone becomes exhausting. Now, that doesn't mean that you completely throw structure out the window, because structure does help many of our children feel safer and more regulated. But structure doesn't have to mean turning your house into a full-time school building all summer long either. And I think that's where you get stuck, especially when ESY starts entering the conversation. So let's talk about ESY for a minute, because every year moms head into summer thinking, okay, good, ESY will help. And then reality hits, because ESY is usually a very small piece of the summer puzzle. Maybe it's only a few hours. Maybe transportation becomes an issue. Maybe staffing changes. Maybe your child struggles with the transition. Maybe you spend more time preparing for ESY than they actually spend in ESY. And listen, ESY can absolutely be helpful, but ESY is support. It is not full summer coverage. And I think sometimes many of you feel guilty admitting that. Like you should somehow magically have the rest of summer completely figured out. Meanwhile, you're over here trying to survive snack requests every 14 minutes. Or if you have siblings at home, you're hearing, he's touching me all day long. Summer is a lot. But here's what I've learned after almost 3 decades of raising Jordan. Learning doesn't just stop because school does. Learning does not only happen sitting at the table doing worksheets. Life skills are learning. Jordan has learned more from real life than almost anything else. Grocery stores, restaurants, packing for trips, helping around the house, learning routines, following schedules, waiting, flexibility. Those things didn't happen sitting behind a desk. They happened living life. Communication during real life is learning. Flexibility is learning. Jordan's 30. Today's not been an easy day, and that's because flexibility is still very challenging for him. Helping your child tolerate small changes is learning. Waiting in the line at the grocery store, that's learning. Helping make lunch, that's learning. Ordering food at a restaurant, learning. Sorting laundry, learning. Helping load the dishwasher or unload the dishwasher, learning. Using timers, learning. Practicing flexibility when plans change because, let's say it's raining and the park is a no-go today. Big learning. Sometimes we panic because our child isn't doing enough academic work during the summer. But honestly, some of the most important skills happen naturally just during everyday life, especially for our kids. And I think we underestimate how much growth can happen through repetition in daily routines. Just things like helping put the groceries away, counting money at the store, watering plants, feeding the pets, doing simple chores, maybe checking the weather apps, right? Helping to make grocery lists, carrying their own items and signing into their appointments, learning how to wait, learning how to transition. Those things matter. And the amazing thing is you don't have to create some Pinterest perfect summer to make summer meaningful. Your kids do not need constant entertainment. Can we all stop acting like every family is supposed to spend the summer making homemade popsicles and doing science experiments on the back porch? Some days, the biggest accomplishment is getting everyone dressed before lunch. You don't need elaborate plans every day. You don't need expensive vacations. And honestly, some days, if everybody ate something and nobody eloped and the house is still standing by bedtime, that was a successful day. And I know some of you listening just laughed because you know exactly what I mean. I also think one of the best things you can do before summer starts is simplify now before you're already overwhelmed, because the future you will thank you. Simple things like visual calendars, simple routines, snack bins, activity stations, rotating familiar activities instead of trying to constantly create new ones. Have a default plan for certain days. Maybe, Monday is library day, Tuesday is water activity day, Wednesday we grocery shop, Thursday we watch a movie in the afternoon. Predictability helps everyone, including you. And honestly, some of you need to stop expecting yourselves to create magical summer memories every single day, because social media has convinced you that you should be making every summer moment count. Meanwhile, we're over here just trying to keep everybody emotionally regulated enough to even leave the house. And that's already a full-time job. And I also want to say to those of you that are already dreading summer because last summer was hard, because I know you're here. And for some of you, this isn't really about planning activities. It's about fear, because last summer was really hard. And I know you're carrying anxiety because you remember the meltdowns and the dysregulation and the sleep struggles and the constant sibling conflict and the boredom and the endless snacking. But I want you to remember something. You got through that. I know it didn't always feel graceful. I know there were days you cried in the bathroom, days that you questioned yourself, days you counted the minutes until bedtime. But you are still here. And that's proof that you're stronger than your anxiety is telling you that you are right now. You've learned things since then. Your child has grown since then. You have grown since then. You do not have to do this perfectly. You do not have to create magical moments every second. You do not have to earn rest. You don't have to prove that you're doing enough. And this summer doesn't have to look perfect to still hold good moments. You just have to keep showing up one day at a time. And I know that you can do that. Sometimes the best moments aren't the big, expensive vacation moments anyways. When I look back over summers with Jordan, I don't remember every camp or every activity. What I remember are the little moments, the mornings doing nothing really, the afternoons learning to ride a bike when he was 13, the laughter that I didn't expect, the progress that happened so slowly that I almost missed it while I was living it. Sometimes it's hearing your child laugh at something that only they would laugh at, or watching siblings actually get along for 5 whole minutes, or a peaceful drive, or a successful trip to the park, or everybody just sitting calmly watching a movie and eating popcorn. And honestly, those are the moments we remember the most, because at the end of the day, summer isn't just about managing your child. It's also about managing you. And this is exactly the kind of coaching work we do inside the private membership, helping you stop feeling like you're failing every second that looks different than what you expected, helping you regulate yourself, reduce overwhelm, adjust your expectations, create routines that actually work for your family, and stop comparing your real life to everybody else's highlight reel online. So if you're struggling, I encourage you to check out all the ways that we can help you on our website at notyouraverageautismmom.com, because that's where the real support is. And, it's built for moms just like you. And lastly, since we're talking about summer, this episode is actually our last brand new episode before we move into our best of summer series. Every summer, I know that life shifts. Schedules get messy. Your time gets even more limited, if that's even possible, right? People travel, kids are home, routines disappear. So throughout the summer, we'll be bringing back some of our most downloaded and loved podcast episodes from the past several years for you to either catch for the first time, or maybe you're going to revisit it in a completely different season of your life. Because sometimes the episode that didn't really hit 6 months ago becomes exactly the thing that you needed today. And honestly, with over 270 episodes now, there are, so many conversations that are still incredibly relevant and helpful for where you are right now. And they are not in any particular order. So you can scroll through and listen or watch whatever episodes feel relevant to you right now. So I hope that you'll continue listening all summer long. And don't forget, if you love this episode or if it helps you feel a little less alone, share it with another mom who might need some encouragement today. And please, y'all, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to leave a review. Reviews matter so much, and that's how we reach so many more families just like ours. Tag us on social media, help us keep getting this message out and normalizing this parenting journey that none of us planned. I am wishing you all a wonderful summer ahead, whatever that looks like. I am going to spend this time focused on catching up on my writing, because if you didn't know, I am writing a book. And it's called Loving Through the Unexpected, Finding Strength, Surrender, and Acceptance Parenting Autistic Children. And can I just tell you, after all these years of talking to moms and coaching moms and sharing our story, I never realized how hard it would be to put it all in a book. But I am so excited about it, and I cannot wait till it's in your hands. Also, be sure to keep following us on social media through the summer. We have some really exciting things planned this summer, and I'll be sharing all of that with you throughout the summer. So have a great summer. And remember, above all, you, mama, are doing amazing at this mom thing.